The manila folder slipped from Maya's trembling hands, scattering medical documents across her bedroom floor like fallen leaves. I watched from the doorway as my 17-year-old stepdaughter stared at the papers, her face cycling through confusion, shock, and something that looked dangerously close to understanding. "Kidney donor match confirmed," she read aloud, her voice barely above a whisper. "Compatible tissue type. Recommended immediate scheduling." It was Tuesday, November 14th, 3:45 in the afternoon, and I had come upstairs to return Maya's clean laundry when I found her rifling through the box of files I'd hidden in my closet. The box she was never supposed to find. The box that contained the real reason I'd married her father 5 years ago. "My name is Rachel Martinez, I'm 42, and I'm a pediatric nurse at Children's Hospital Colorado." What Maya didn't know, what no one except her father and I knew, was that I hadn't stumbled into their lives by accident. I had sought them out with the deliberate precision of a woman on a mission to save a dying child. "Maya," I said softly, stepping into the room. She looked up at me, her dark eyes, so much like her mother's in the photographs that lined the hallway, filled with an emotion I couldn't quite read. "What is this?" she asked, holding up another document. This one was older, more worn, with the letterhead of Denver General Hospital. "Acute kidney failure, age 12. Patient requires immediate transplant to prevent." Her voice broke. "To prevent death." I sat down on her bed, suddenly feeling every one of my 42 years. "It's exactly what it looks like. But I don't understand." Maya's voice was getting higher, more strained. "This is from 5 years ago. Right before you married Dad. Right after Mom died." I nodded, watching her piece together the timeline that had changed all our lives. "You knew," she whispered. "You knew I was sick before you even met us." "Your mother and I were friends," I said quietly. "We worked together at the hospital. She was a surgical technician, and I was on the pediatric transplant team." Maya's face crumpled. "Mom never told me you knew each other. She didn't want to worry you. But when your kidneys started failing right after her cancer diagnosis, she was terrified. She knew she wasn't going to live long enough to take care of you through a transplant. So she asked me to get tested." I pulled out another document from the scattered papers, one Maya hadn't seen yet. My own test results, showing the miraculous compatibility that occurs in less than 1% of potential donors. "Perfect match," I continued. "Better than most siblings, better than most parents. Your mother said it was God giving her one last gift, a way to make sure you'd be okay after she was gone." Maya was crying now, silent tears streaming down her face. "But you didn't know me. I was just some random sick kid. You weren't random to your mother. And she wasn't random to me. Linda saved my life once, in a different way. When my own daughter died in a car accident 3 years before I met your family, your mother was the one who sat with me through every shift, every breakdown, every moment when I wanted to quit nursing forever." I had never told Maya about Emma, my first daughter. The one who would have been 22 now, the one whose empty bedroom I still kept exactly as she'd left it in my apartment across town. "She had a daughter," Maya said, understanding dawning in her eyes. "You had a daughter. Emma was 15 when she died. Drunk driver ran a red light." I wiped my own eyes, surprised by how easily the tears came after all these years. "Your mother helped me survive that loss. When she was dying and needed someone to help save you, how could I say no?" Maya looked down at the medical records again, this time with different eyes. "So, you married Dad just to give me your kidney?" "I married your father because your mother asked me to watch over both of you. The kidney was just part of it." "But you don't love him." It wasn't a question. I was quiet for a long moment, thinking about how to answer that. "I didn't love him when I married him. I loved the memory of your mother, and I loved the idea of saving you. But Maya, somewhere in the past 5 years, while you were busy hating me and telling me I'd never be your real mom, I fell in love with both of you." Maya's shoulders were shaking now. "I've been so awful to you. You've been a teenager dealing with trauma. That's not awful. That's human. But all those times I screamed at you, all those times I said you were just trying to replace Mom. You were protecting your mother's memory. I understood that. Maya picked up another document, this one a surgical schedule from 3 years ago. November 15th, 2021. Kidney transplant surgery. That's tomorrow's date, 3 years ago. Your transplant date. The kidney you've been carrying around for 3 years? It's mine. Maya's hand went to her side, to the small scar that marked where my kidney had found its new home. I always wondered why you took so much time off work that month. Dad said you had the flu. Recovery from major surgery tends to take a bit longer than the flu. Why didn't you tell me? That was the question I'd been dreading for 3 years. Because you needed to hate me. Maya looked confused. What do you mean? You were 12 years old. You just lost your mother to cancer, and then you almost died from kidney failure. You needed someone to blame, someone to be angry at. If you'd known I was the one who saved your life, you would have felt guilty every time you were mad at me. You would have felt like you owed me something. I reached over and brushed a tear from her cheek. I didn't want you to feel grateful, Maya. I wanted you to feel free to be angry, to grieve, to be a normal teenager who could hate her stepmother without worrying about hurting the feelings of the woman who gave her a kidney. But I hurt your feelings anyway. Sometimes. But never in a way that made me regret my choice. Maya was quiet for a long time, looking through the papers scattered on her floor. Birth certificates, medical records, surgical reports, insurance forms. The paper trail of a life saved and a family rebuilt from the pieces of loss. There's something else, she said, holding up a document I'd hoped she wouldn't find. Adoption papers? My heart stopped. Maya. Petition for step-parent adoption, she read. Biological mother deceased. Biological father consents to adoption by step-parent. She looked up at me. You are going to adopt me? Your father and I discussed it. We hoped that maybe someday you'd want me to be your legal mother, not just your stepmother. When were you going to ask me? When you turned 18. We thought maybe then you'd be old enough to make that choice without feeling pressured. Maya stood up suddenly, walking to her window and staring out at the backyard where her swing set still stood, and used for years, but never removed. I have your kidney, she said, her back to me. Yes. And you loved my mom. Very much. And you've been taking care of me and Dad for 5 years, even though I've been horrible to you. You haven't been horrible. You've been honest about your feelings. She turned around, and I was startled by how mature she looked in that moment. I want to sign the papers. Maya, you don't have to. I want to. Not because I feel guilty, and not because I think I owe you something, but because. She paused, searching for the right words. Because maybe real mothers aren't just the ones who give birth to you. Maybe they're the ones who choose to save you, over and over again, even when you don't want to be saved. That night, Maya came downstairs and found me in the kitchen making dinner. It was the first time in months she'd voluntarily spent time in the same room with me. Can I help? She asked. I handed her a knife and pointed to the vegetables on the counter. Can you chop the carrots? We worked in silence for a while, the comfortable kind of silence that comes when two people understand each other for the first time. Rachel. Maya said eventually. Yeah. Thank you. For my kidney, but also for letting me hate you when I needed to. I looked over at her. This girl who carried part of me inside her body and who I'd watched grow from a grieving 12-year-old into a strong, complicated young woman. Thank you for letting me love you, even when you didn't want me to. She smiled, and for the first time, it looked like her father's smile instead of her mother's. So, what do I call you now? Rachel? Mom? Kidney donor? I laughed. How about just Rachel for now? We can figure out the rest as we go. Okay. But Rachel? Yeah. I love you too. 6 months later, on Maya's 18th birthday, we signed the adoption papers. Not because she felt obligated, but because she wanted to. Not because I needed legal recognition, but because we both wanted the world to know that family isn't just about blood, it's about choice. At the courthouse, the judge asked Maya why she wanted to be adopted by her stepmother at 18 when she was legally an adult and could make her own decisions about family. Because, Maya said, looking directly at me, she gave me everything she had before she even knew who I was. She loved me when I didn't love her back. She saved my life and then let me hate her for it. That's not a stepmother. That's a real mother. The judge signed the papers and Maya Restrepo became Maya Martinez. She kept her father's last name too, hyphenated, because she said she wanted to honor both the parent who gave her life and the parent who chose to save it. Today, Maya is a junior at Colorado State University, studying to become a nurse. She says she wants to work in pediatric transplant, like me. She wants to help save other kids the way I helped save her. Sometimes she calls me mom now, but usually still Rachel. It doesn't matter to me what she calls me. What matters is that she's alive, healthy, and choosing her own path. Last week, she brought her boyfriend home to meet us. A nice kid named James who's studying pre-med and who makes Maya laugh the way she used to laugh before her mother died. "This is my mom, Rachel," she introduced me, without any hesitation or explanation. "She's the one who saved my life." James shook my hand politely, probably thinking she meant it metaphorically. Maya and I just looked at each other and smiled. We knew what she really meant. Her father David remarried me 2 years ago. Not because we had to for insurance or legal reasons, but because we wanted to. Because what started as an arrangement to save a child had become something real and lasting and worth celebrating. At our second wedding, Maya was my maid of honor. She gave a speech about how she'd spent 5 years thinking I was trying to replace her mother, when really I was just trying to honor her memory by taking care of the people she loved most. "My mom Linda gave me life," she said to the small gathering of family and friends. "My mom Rachel saved it. I'm lucky enough to have been loved by both." In our wedding photos, Maya is holding a bouquet of flowers that included roses from her mother's grave. It was her idea, her way of including Linda in our celebration. Her way of showing that love doesn't have to be replaced, it can be added to. The kidney I gave Maya is still working perfectly 3 years later. The doctors say it should last her the rest of her life. But even if it doesn't, even if she needs another transplant someday, I know she'll be okay. Because she understands now what I learned when Emma died, that the people who love you don't disappear when they're gone. They live on in the choices you make, the kindness you show, the lives you choose to save. Maya carries my kidney, but more than that, she carries forward her mother's compassion and strength. She's studying to become a nurse because she wants to help families the way I helped hers. Sometimes people ask me if I regret marrying David for the wrong reasons, if I wish I'd met him under different circumstances. I tell them I don't believe in wrong reasons when it comes to love. I tell them that the best families aren't always the ones that start with romance. Sometimes they're the ones that start with need, with loss, with the decision to choose each other again and again until choice becomes love. Maya was right about one thing. I was never her real mother in the biological sense. But I was her real mother in every way that mattered. I was the one who chose to save her life before I knew her name. I was the one who stayed when she pushed me away. I was the one who loved her through her anger and grief until she was ready to love me back. And now, when people ask Maya about her family, she doesn't hesitate to call me her mother. Not her stepmother. Not her father's wife. Her mother. The woman who gave her a kidney and then gave her a lifetime of unconditional love to go with it. Some mothers give birth to their children. Others give their children the gift of a second chance at life. Both kinds of love are real. Both kinds of mothers count. And sometimes, if you're very lucky, you get to be both kinds of mother to the same child, even if you never carried her in your womb. Even if she fought you every step of the way. Even if it took her 5 years to realize that the woman trying to save her wasn't trying to replace anyone. She was just trying to love a little girl the way that little girl's mother had asked her to. And in the end, that was enough.